Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Now you're here, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment and all that typical usual stuff. It really means a lot to me that you watch my videos and support me, so thank you. Benji says make sure to subscribe to my mummy, don't you? Look at the camera, say subscribe to my mummy. Yes. Okay, so today's video is going to be about mental health, mainly regarding my illness, which is a borderline personality disorder. It's also known as emotionally unstable personality disorder. So just a quick trigger warning for you guys out there. I will be talking about self-harm and suicide and kind of disordered eating in this video, so if you are triggered by any of those things, then this video probably isn't going to be for you, I'm afraid. I don't want anyone to get upset or anything watching this video, but if you are interested in mental health, if you're more interested in finding information out about me and my life, then please carry on watching. Ow, Benji just fucking bit me. Sorry for swearing there guys, but when you have a puppy that bites quite hard because he's teething, you tend to swear. Do you know what I'm saying? Good boy. Come on, Dan. Come on, Dan. Come and get your chew. Oh, he's been so naughty today. Okay, so let's get into the video then. So I have a little list next to me, so I've been writing some points down, just so that I sort of don't forget anything, because this is obviously quite a broad topic. I'd just like to say, obviously, people with BPD do have different symptoms, and obviously every person is different, so the way they handle things, even though they are mentally ill, will still be different. So I'm not saying that everything that I do is how someone else with BPD would cope or whatever. Just thought I would put that out there. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety back when I was about 13 years old. I think the depression and anxiety came from being horrendously bullied about my body image. I had very short hair. I've always been fat and chubby. I didn't really have friends, so I was a very good target for bullies, I suppose. So that sort of started when I was around 13, but I still kind of felt like there was something more wrong with me, because I felt very childlike. No matter how older I was getting, I still felt really, really young, like a child inside, which is very hard to explain. Especially now, I'm only 26 and I still feel like a child. I don't feel like an adult at all. But yeah, I felt like there was still something wrong with me, and the way I reacted to things were really different to how other people reacted. I was very paranoid, very jealous. I would get very upset very easily. I had a lot of internal anger. So, sorry, I keep saying so and nervous. So, I just felt like there was something more underlying. And of course there was, because last year I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Now, there are a few different types of borderline. I happen to have the quiet version. So the typical borderline personality disorder has a lot of anger and rage, and they tend to take this out on people physically, verbally. They let their rage out, if you know what I mean. They don't bottle it. Where I, for example, I still get moments of anger and complete rage, but I internalise that anger. Sometimes, not all the time, I will have moments where it comes out, but generally speaking, I do internalise that anger and let it bottle up inside of me. And that's where the self-harm comes in, because when I get upset and angry, unfortunately at the moment, self-harming is my coping mechanism, although I haven't done it for about a month or so now. But that's just always been the way that I've coped. It helps me to relieve stress, it calms me down, and I'm not saying for 1 minute that I recommend it. Obviously, I don't want any of you to hurt yourself at all, but for me at the moment, that is how I cope. I am waiting to start group therapy for personality disorders. I am on a waiting list to get into the group, which is over a year, so thanks NHS. So yeah, that is my coping mechanism when I get angry. So that is, I think, the main difference between quiet and your typical borderline, is that quiet tend to act inwardly, where typical borderlines act outwardly. I just would like to add, before we go any further in this video as well, that there are things that have happened in the past. I had quite a traumatic childhood, but there are things that I'm willing to be open to you guys and talk about. There are other things that I want to keep private. But I just want you to know that there were things that definitely have caused me to be this way, but I don't want to talk about them over the internet. If you research borderline personality disorder, then you'll see what can cause it, and you can probably guess a bit about my story. But for me personally, I just want to keep that side of my life private. I don't want it all over the internet. I honestly feel like I could write a book about my life, and this is where I worry, and this is a BPD thing, that, so I'm looking at my list, that people think that you are overreacting or attention seeking. So I actually wanted to write a book about my life because I've had so many different things go on, so many horrible things and positive things. I'm not gonna, miss out the good, but a lot of traumatic, a lot of horrible experiences from a very young age. And I would like to write it down in a book, just for myself and my family maybe. And I might do a few story times of the different things, not all of them, like I just said. I want to keep some of it private. But these events have obviously shaped and moulded me into the person that I am today. So because of those events, I react very differently to a normal person in certain situations. But borderline personality disorder is the hardest illness, in my opinion. I've probably been a bit biased because I have it, but it is so difficult. It's so misunderstood still. It's still very stigmatized. Not a lot is known about it, even though it is more common than like bipolar, and the suicide rate for borderline personality disorder is really high. It's still not spoken about. It's still very misunderstood. So it's very hard to talk about it because you do feel like people are going to judge you straight away. But at the same time, I like to talk about it because the more we talk about mental illness, the more it's going to be accepted into society, the more people are going to understand and feel empathy and be supportive. But I do worry a lot of the time that I am overreacting, or people think that I'm overreacting. I can reassure you I'm not. So the way that I'm going to put this is, I always feel like there's two versions of me. So there's the normal me, and then there's like the BPD monster me, I suppose. And when that BPD monster takes over, I'm still here, the real me is still here, she's just a passenger in the car, and she can see everything that's going on, she can see everything that's being done and said, but she can't physically stop it because the monster is too powerful. He has control of the car, and no matter how hard she tries to get to the steering wheel, she just physically can't. And that's how I feel when I have a bit of a BPD breakdown. And it's so hard to judge when that's going to happen, because with BPD you also have rapid mood changes. So it's a wonderful illness, really. Yeah, it's fucking brilliant. I experience rapid mood changes quite often. I can feel very positive, sort of like loving life. There's been times where I've sat in the car and it's been sunny and we've had music on. I sort of feel like I'm in a movie, and I'm just like, life is wonderful and I'm going to be amazing and I'm going to do such good things with my life. Hi, Benji. He's here for support. And I just feel very over the top. Benji, I can't be serious with you like that. But yeah, I feel really positive, really happy, can be laughing, can be feeling really good, like on top of the world, like nothing is gonna stop me now. And then literally it can just hit you, and it's like seconds, if that, and I just feel like a dark cloud come over me. I can feel myself getting angry, I can feel myself wanting to cry, I suddenly don't want to live anymore, I just feel completely and utterly broken, no motivation, and then that can change again within a few hours sometimes. It's amazing how quickly things can change. And as well, I'm triggered really easily by comments, again, because another symptom of borderline personality disorder is that we are very, very sensitive people. In fact, we're oversensitive. And there's a quote somewhere that says that BPD sufferers are like burn victims because they're so sensitive, like their words and actions towards us are just horrendously painful. So a recent example that I can give you, Benji is currently biting my arm. Ow, ow. This is going to be such a good video for you guys. Sorry. I want to try and keep this as unedited as possible. So, but yeah, a recent example that I can give you was I was at work and another member of staff made a comment that wasn't even necessarily what normal people would think was bad. It was a little bit of criticism, I suppose. But I felt like the way she said it, the tone of her voice and the way she came across to me, I just felt like I was being a failure, I couldn't do my job, she didn't like me, and that was it then. Work was ruined for me for the rest of the day. I felt completely deflated, like I was a failure. Wanted to come home, I wanted to cry, I just felt so low, so dark and horrible. And again, like a normal person would take criticism okay and they'd be fine, but with me, like the slightest bit of criticism, the slightest change of tone in someone's voice, you know, if you're a friend of mine and you forget to put a kiss at the end of the text, I instantly think you hate me, that you've fallen out with me, that I've done something wrong. I'm literally so sensitive, and my mum has always said to me since I was really little, grow thicker skin, come on, just let it go in one ear and out the other, but I physically can't do that, and now obviously we understand why. So another thing with BPD is that we have fear of abandonment, which definitely occurs with me, because mainly with Lewis, because he has to put up with so much from me. He is the one that I live with, he's the one that sees me pretty much 24/7, and I know that I've put a lot of stress on him, because unfortunately he's the person that has to put up with my breakdowns. He's the person that when I do let my anger out, it gets taken out on him. Benji's trying to eat my notes. So he is literally at the front of it all, which puts a lot of stress on our relationship and a lot of stress on him, and then that obviously makes me feel guilty. Then it makes me feel like I'm not good enough and he will leave me, he will find someone better, which is why I get so paranoid and so jealous when girls text him or he's friends with girls, because I instantly think, you know, if they are always happy around him and if they always look really pretty, and if, I don't know, I just feel like because I've put him through so much, you know, I've made him cry, I've made him angry, I've made him worry, I just have this deep rooted fear that one day he will realise that I'm not worth it and just leave. I sort of have it with my friends as well. I don't really have a lot of friends. I want friends, I'm desperate to have friends. I miss having, you know, girls that I can go out with and go shopping with and go for like cocktails with and have sleepovers with. I don't generally have that. And I used to, a couple of years ago, I used to have this friend that I was really close with, and then I think I just got too much for her, and one day she just texted me and said, I don't want to be friends anymore. And this was a person that I literally did every other day. We were doing something together. We were sleeping around each other's houses and having movie nights and going to the cinema and shopping and going out for meals, and it was amazing. And then because of me, it's obviously ended because I don't think she could cope with me. So all my life I've had friends like decide they don't want to be friends anymore. So I am scared to get close to people, but at the same time I'm very eager to get close to people because I'm so lonely. Lewis always tells me off because I could meet someone once and instantly they'll become my whole world. They'll be like my best friend and I'll love them and I want to do everything with them and for them. And Lewis is like, you've only met them like once. Really, Benji? He's got a water bottle. So you're going to hear crinkly sounds now. This is going to turn into some like ASMR. But yeah, so he always tells me off because I get really close to people really quickly. And here's another BPD thing. So I either am a very secretive person or I tend to overshare. And with this girl that I was friends with for a couple of years, the very first day that we met, I literally decided to just overshare and I told her my whole life story. I told her really dark secrets that not many people know about. And I don't know why. I don't know why I do that. But that is a BPD thing as well, oversharing sometimes. Or like I say, or we just do not tell anyone anything. Okay, I took the water bottle off him because it was so loud, so I apologise for that last clip. He now has no water bottle. Okay, so carrying on. Yeah, okay. So, I know I'm rambling a little bit, so I apologise. This is like really hard to talk about because there's so much that I could talk about, but I don't want this video to go on for hours. So because we have such a deep fear of abandonment, we need reassurance 24/7, and I need attention quite a lot. Not that I'm attention seeker, like I don't do things on purpose to get attention, but when like Lewis is here, I have to have attention from him, even if it's just like him cuddling me while we're watching telly. I just have to have attention. And constant reassurance that people still like me, they still want me in their lives, because like I said, unfortunately, you know, if you're busy and although you can't really have a tone of voice in a text, I can sort of imagine a tone in a text, I suppose. And if you text me slightly differently to how you would normally text me, then like I said, I instantly think that I have done something wrong or upset you. So I'm getting slightly better at this now, mainly because I don't really have any friends. But before, I used to text people all the time, like, are you okay with me? Are we still friends? Blah, 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 blah. Which then obviously annoys them because you're being annoying and bothering them all the time. And I'm like that with Lewis, to be honest. I'm always asking him, I probably ask him at least minimum once a day. And that's minimum. If he still loves me, if he still wants to be with me, is he okay with me? Is he happy? And he said before, like, he's tired of repeating himself. But for me, I just need to hear it. I know how difficult it is for the people around me to watch me have this illness and the effects that it has on them. And I do feel guilty. I feel awful for what I put my loved ones through. But at the same time, they don't really know what it's like to live with it. To be at constant war with your own head is torture. It's tiring, it's exhausting. It makes you feel like you just can't go on because, and I have this thought a lot when I'm really down, is my life is constantly up and down like a roller coaster, up and down, and I don't want to live my life like that because I get so tired. And recently you know, with me having time off sick off my new job because of my mental illness, there was a risk that I was going to get the sack because I'd had like 4 days off in 2 weeks. I'm on probation. We have a mortgage, and Lewis actually sat and cried because he was like, we are going to lose this house. We're going to lose everything that we've worked for. And I knew it was because of me. And I can't tell you how truly awful that is to know that you are effectively ruining your own life, but you can't stop it. Like I said, it's like you're in a car and you can see everything that the driver is doing. You know, the driver of my body at the time is doing everything wrong, is ruining everything, but I can't stop it. And I think that's what a lot of people find really hard to understand. Lewis doesn't understand why some days I can't motivate myself to get out of bed. You know, I can physically walk, I'm physically able to get out of bed, which I'm very thankful for. But he doesn't understand that when I'm down, I have no motivation. I don't care about myself. I don't care if I don't shower. I don't care if I don't brush my teeth or brush my hair or eat or drink. Or I go the opposite way with food, because my food is my comfort for me, which is one of the reasons why I'm so big, because I've always turned to food when I've been down, mainly chocolate. You ask anyone that knows me, I am a chocoholic. Like, seriously, like, I think I'm actually addicted to it. So another thing with BPD then is we get intrusive thoughts. So we could just be watching telly, we could be washing up, we could be lying in bed, just doing sort of like normal day-to-day things, and we'll suddenly get, just kill yourself. Or I could be in the bath sometimes and I can just think in my head suddenly, just drown. So we get these very intrusive, unwanted thoughts, and they come and go. And that can be if I'm in a good mood, that can be if I'm in a bad mood. It's literally such a horrible illness because it affects every single part of your life. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was so worried that we were going to lose this house, because if I'd have got the sack, which I didn't thankfully, because I managed to speak to the manager and explain everything that was going on. I reduced my work hours, and I am going to start seeing a counsellor privately until my group therapy, because that's so long away. Thankfully they were really like understanding and supportive, so I haven't lost my job, which means I don't lose the house, but there was that possibility. And like the days that I had work where I didn't go in, I'd wake up in the morning and it'd be like a battle of the brains, because half of me would be saying, don't go out, you need to stay here, you're safe here, you need to be at home. And it felt like there was a weight pushing me back into the bed, and yet the other voice was screaming, you've got to go to work because this is your responsibility now as an adult. You're not a child anymore, you've got to do these things, you've got a house to pay for, you can't keep doing this to Lewis. So honestly, when I have a meltdown, or whatever you want to call it, my head, I can't even tell you, it's just unbelievably loud with thoughts, with things going on, and I do actually tend to get really bad headaches when I'm down, probably because I'm so stressed, with all the voices going on, fighting constantly. I have been thinking that when I next have a breakdown, I've seen a few people on YouTube that have recorded their breakdowns, not for attention, not for comments or anything like that, purely for people to watch and understand what it truly is like to have a breakdown. Because, oh God, it's so awful. Like, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And at the moment, I'm in a happy mood. The sun's out. I took some photos for the Instagram. So I feel really good. And it's hard for people to sort of see this version of me and then think that I could be the complete and utter opposite. But you never know what's going on behind closed doors. You never know how people are truly feeling, because they could be putting on a mask. So I think we just need to be kind to everyone. I mean, we should be doing that in general anyway, let's be honest, but more so for people with mental illness, because you know, we have to live with this every single day of our lives. We have to live with the guilt. We have to live with the wars in our heads and the hatred towards ourselves and the ups and the downs, and it's just horrendous. So please just be kind and patient with us, and let's sort of get it more out there. Let's talk about mental health more. Let's not be afraid to talk about mental health. You know, one of the things that I found recently was that when I phoned in sick for work, I wasn't actually giving them the real reason. And this is with any job that I've ever had. I've always said, I'm ill, I'm sick. But why should we have to lie? Why can't we say, I'm having a bad mental health day, I have bad anxiety today? Because we're scared. We're scared of what our employees are going to say. We're scared that they're not going to take us seriously, because it's still so stigmatised. So we hide the fact that we have mental illness. That is something that desperately needs to change, especially in the workplace, because as adults we work most of our week. You know, lots of people work Monday to Friday, lots of people work full time. Even if you work part time, you know, you've still got to go to work and have that responsibility. So it would be amazing if employers were much more understanding about mental illness, because at the moment I really don't think that they are. And that's with every job that I've worked at, not just like my current job. Most places, I mean, my current job is really good so far. Like I said, they've let me drop my hours down. They know everything that's going on now. But from previous experience, if you have mental illness, they'll just try and get rid of you. People will push you out. They'll find out your weak buttons. Like, I've had this quite a lot. That's another thing with BPD, is they sometimes find it really difficult to work. And I have gone through a lot of jobs. I can't take criticism very well at all. I think it's a personal attack. So whenever I have criticism or whatever, again, I don't want to go to work then, because I think everyone hates me. It's just a constant vicious cycle, and it's one that is so difficult to break out of once you're in it. And this obviously sometimes leads to us thinking that there's no way out, that things aren't going to get better, and the only way to stop the pain is to try and kill ourselves, which I have tried. I've been in hospital. It was my first time in an ambulance last year, which was weird. I'd never been in an ambulance before. Obviously under very horrible circumstances. Because I just remember feeling like my life is never going to get better. I've had this since I was 13. I'm now only 26, so I was 25 back then. 24. Nothing's ever going to get better for me. My life is always going to be this roller coaster. I don't want it. And I remember feeling so alone, so lost, so low, that it just drove me to an extreme that I thought would take it all away. It didn't. I'm still here, and would I try it again? I don't want to make promises, and that sounds really awful, and if my family are watching this or whatever, then I'm sorry, but I don't want to make promises that I can't keep. I will try my damned hardest, but I think you have to understand that sometimes it's okay to feel suicidal, not to act upon it, because I think you're all amazing people and I would never want any of you to hurt yourself. But I think you have to understand that sometimes our brains just feel like that is our only escape route, because the pain is so incredibly intense, and it feels like it's going to be never ending. And I think a lot of people without depression sometimes have suicidal thoughts as well, you know, because day-to-day stress, if you've got kids, if you have a stressful job, you know, you could be going through money problems or whatever it is. You know, we all have day-to-day stress, whether we have a mental illness or not. And again, that's something that I think needs to become more normalised, is the talk of suicide, because I think a lot of people shy away from it. I think a lot of people feel awkward talking about it. And I think the more we open up and tell our stories and talk about suicide, I think that will help decrease the rates, in my opinion. Where am I at the moment? I'm quite happy. I don't feel like I would try anything. I feel like my life is going okay. I sort of feel like I'm on the right track. You know, I have Lewis, I have my little Benji, I have my house. And that's another thing that pisses me off, is that people say, well, you know, you have all these wonderful things and people have nothing, and yet you're still depressed. Well, yeah, because I didn't choose to be like this. Trust me, if I could get rid of this mental illness with the snap of my fingers, I would have done it years ago, because it is torture to live with. And knowing that you have nice things and a supportive family and a house or whatever it is, and other people don't have that, makes you feel guilty. And just because some people have it worse off than you doesn't make your feelings or your emotions invalid. Like, you still matter. You still have the right to feel the way that you do. Look at celebrities, you know, they have everything that a person could wish for, and yet a lot of them are committing suicide because, unfortunately, material things don't make you happy, and once your head takes over, it's very difficult. I think I'm going to leave it at that for now, because there's so much more that I could talk about, but I feel like we will be here forever. So I might do like a series about mental health, if that's something you guys would be interested, if you actually enjoyed this video. I might do another like BPD talk, and like I said, I might consider filming a breakdown or when I'm feeling a bit low, just to show you what it's truly like for me, because obviously at the moment you can just see me with my makeup done and feeling quite happy and quite jolly. So I guess for some people it'll be really hard to imagine how I could be like that. But yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video. Sorry for rambling, but like I said, I was a bit nervous. There's a lot of thoughts and a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. If you ever feel like you're struggling, if you ever feel like you need help, please just message me on here or on Instagram. I'll leave my Instagram details down below. I never want any of you to ever feel alone, because you're not. I'm always here. I'm not the best at giving advice. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counsellor. But sometimes just knowing that there's someone there for you that's been through it can help. You know, I understand how you feel. Please don't feel like you have to go through this on your own. There are support networks out there for you. I'll link some helplines down below. And I love you, and I'm proud of you for everything that you've achieved, even if today you've just woken up. If you've just survived, that is still an achievement, and you should be proud of yourself. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to hit that like button, leave me a comment, let me know if you want me to do more mental health chats, and I will see you in the next video very soon. Thank you, guys. Mwah.